I've seen a lot of footage, a lot of quotes, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. I've never seen the bye-bye.
Yeah. That's an amazing
I feel
pull.
like I've never actually seen that before. And I have watched that game quite a few times.
I mean, what fuels you, what fuels me are 47 kill, 46-minute LTA games.
Yeah, they got to be able to one-up it now.
It just, my adrenaline is through the roof, man.
Let's go for a 60 kill, 50-minute game.
I will say that Sniper in the end comms there saying, like, I'm sorry, guys, I almost solo through the game. I'm not sure, like, the discoordination of the team, because it felt like 100 Thieves, every time they'd have an advantage, Sniper would be in what I would consider a good split push situation, where he's completely unmatched. They're going to have to respond to him in like 10 seconds. There are no immediate objectives. And then 100 Thieves would like start a fight and Sniper would TP in. And if he's taking that of like, oh man, I need to be there for my team, I would think that that would be the wrong takeaway. So that's just, you can tell they're working on that, and it's not quite polished yet.
It is interesting, and you know, obviously they all responded immediately and said, no, that wasn't just your fault, we all messed up. And I am assuming that it was that moment where Quid got caught and he kind of TP'd in the middle of the team and insta-died. I'm guessing that's what he's referring to. And I agree with you, Quid should not have got caught. He was in a good split push position. But also, the other side of it is, once Quid makes that mistake, you shouldn't TP.
Correct.
You should just keep pushing inside lane. If your teammate makes the wrong play, sometimes you just got to take the L and accept that. It doesn't mean you need to try to bail them out and make it even worse, because then they all died.
I do think, though, as we're into draft now, I'm just going to finish this point off. Sniper has always been the team fighter. Part of it, I think, is because originally he didn't really know when he should be on a side wave or how to track the enemy, so he'd just group and fight. In every late game, he's almost always down on CS to his opponent because the team overgroups and fights, which has been their advantage. So it's a very difficult transition for both player and team when they're trying to be a more traditional, get a lot of gold on your top laner player. Interesting bans here. It is going to be the Yorick and the Rumble getting banned out. The Yorick has been used, obviously, a number of times now, mostly as a counter to the Jayce. We saw it come out against the Rumble as well. And it's going to be the Yone getting locked in, though, as that was left open here. And paired up with the Sejuani, incredibly strong duo. We're assuming that's going to Quid. He's a monster on these melee champions. And yes, Srtty gets a pretty strong top laner that's not too easy to counterpick, but that mid-jungle duo from 100 Thieves is looking scary. Agreed. It's a bit of a takeaway from Sniper as well. He had some really good Jayce games last week. But I agree with you. Sejuani Yone is prime. It's prime River Quid territory in terms of their ability to coordinate with each other. We'll see what Sniper will end up picking against the Jayce. Technically, the Jayce could be flexed, so Sniper has to be a little bit careful with what counter pick he has, and the Lillia will pair pretty well with the Jayce, whether it goes mid or top. Yep, and it is going to be the Kalista coming through, which is interesting. We have been seeing it get banned out a fair bit on this patch, but it did get some pretty significant nerfs. The base AD went down, the base health went down, the AD growth did go up, so they're kind of trying to take it from being such an early game bully and make it scale more. The base Ren damage also did go down, so it's not supposed to be as dominant in the 2v2, and to be honest, teams are already handling it in the 2v2 pretty darn well. They were. The Camille into the Jayce is a very aggressive choice. It is. I think with the Sejuani pairing, I kind of like it because it gives you really good gank options. Jayce in the isolated 1v1 definitely should be winning out in the early stages, but if you get a good gank or two off and Camille gets ahead at all of a sudden you're just getting all in on repeat, and every time the ultimatum is up, in comes the ulti, you're going to get jumped on. You can see that 100 Thieves, though, is having the same concern that you were. They're saying, you know what, Jayce could go mid. We need to still ban some of the top lane counters. So we're going to ban out the Jax, which is a great matchup into the Camille. If they wanted to flex it, I'm just preaching Shen, because Shen is also quite good into Camille. It can be a good matchup, can actually answer in those side lanes, but we'll see if they are going to be just worried about that Jax, or if they're really thinking, you know what, this actually could be mid lane Jayce, and we're going to double ban to make sure. I mean, I think it also just depends on how much they want to play around Jayce, because if they're able to find a way to isolate that Jayce a little bit, they could just have Srtty try and hands check Sniper's Camille up top, but also knowing that they already have Lillia who wants to power farm, it makes the choice. I mean, I feel like it puts Dignitas in like a really tough spot with the rest of their draft. So Lillia does not want to be fighting 2v2 top with no setup. Yeah, I just see it's like very aggressive drafting what 100 Thieves just did there. It's like, we're going to take this matchup that is going to make the game all about top lane, but I know your jungler doesn't want to go top. It wants to farm.
And I mean, that's kind of their style, right? They're going to fight you. They're going to check you. I do think the Renata ban was fantastic. I also really like Ziggs bot here. Just take a total...
What a classic comp.
Like, a mage down bot that is just going to make this lane not about fighting. You are just going to fight the wave, and Kalista is going to be really struggling to get any pressure down there. You also have great side lanes, 1-3-1 later on, so Ziggs can then move mid later, you know, hold the waves, while Yone and Camille are doing stuff in the side lanes and fighting with the Sejuani. So I think it's really clever. I love the Renata ban. Obviously, it's a classic pairing with the Kalista, and you're playing full dive when you've already shown that top 3, so that is going to shut that down. It is going to be instead one of the more old school pairings, which is the aggressive melee with the Kalista. But we'll see if they can kind of force any of that action, because last pick is still available for Eyla. So again, he can just take one of those denial picks over on the other side. Yeah. They have tons of engage, just anything to stop potential engage from that side. And it is in fact going to be a flex, but Ambessa could still be mid.
They could be flexing these back and forth. I do think though that it's a bit of a missed opportunity from Dignitas when they look back at this draft. Seeing what they banned on the 4-5 with the Lucian Eco, going like, ah crap, we should have thought of Ziggs. Because this Sejuani plus double AD melees plus a Ziggs bot is almost like a blind pick comp. It's like those champions just fit together so perfectly well because it allows the Sejuani to play topside with her incredibly potent melee damage dealers, but then it also gives them team fight damage spread because of the magic damage from Ziggs bottom lane. Like, you would blind pick this if you had a blind pick choice, so not having that ban snuck in there, like Lucian wouldn't have been good in that comp. It would have been too much AD. So I do think that 100 Thieves is going to be really happy with what they put together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, FBI hasn't played the Ziggs yet this split, but we do know he can play it from previous splits and stuff. But it's also, you know, like the Nico ban I think was good, because when we think about what the classic answers have been in the LTA, it's often been long-range ADC plus, you know, some sort of poke support. So if it was like Nico Ashe or something, that could have been really tough for them to deal with as well. But I do think 100 Thieves coming out very happy from this draft. And at the end of the day, it is going to be the Ambessa moved up towards the top. We are going to have the Jayce moved mid lane. So there is some swapping going on there. They don't want that Jayce necessarily exposed in the side lane against a potential gank there from the Sejuani. And we'll see how Ambessa can handle things against the Camille. Non-subscribers, we will see you in 30 seconds as we head on into game.
And I think what I'm going to be looking for in this top lane matchup is actually only the first 4 minutes, because 100 Thieves is going to be swapping the crap out of Dignitas when they have the opportunity. They had been... Srtty has struggled so much with keeping up with waves that every team is going to be doing this against them until they can show that he doesn't fall behind in these early laning phases. So I'm expecting River to do some cheeky early path, try and get Sniper in a good position, and then once the bot lane's mobile, they're going to be moving Ziggs up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we'll see how much they want to do the swaps round, if they're going to be playing for Grubs. Definitely if you're planning on playing 1-3-1, and Ziggs is a great siege champion as well. The Grubs could be pretty high priority for 100 Thieves. It's going to be double grasp up in that top lane. Mid lane, Quid is going to be playing Fleet. Obviously makes sense to just kind of survive against the Jayce, who will be taking Phase Rush. So all the rune choices, pretty standard, make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'd say these River games, with how tricky he wants to be in early jungle, start as soon as these players leave the base. In the last game, River got a good ward in to the enemy Raptors. This game, they pushed him back before he could get a deep ward, so he ends up placing that defensive ward. But it still ended up being a good defensive ward because they now know exactly where Diggs' ward is. So just a little bit of knowledge trade back and forth. This does mean that River will not know where Sheiden started, and if River goes over those Raptors, then Sheiden will know where River started.
Yep, absolutely. And he will, you know, very likely after the red buff. Of course, we can see Sheiden is actually going to look for blue, and he
might go
like
blue
he's trying
Raptors.
to pull blue into enemy Raptors, but
or
no,
he's
just cutting it back and forth. Never mind. But it was looking like he was really trying to actually pull up towards that side. Instead, he's just going to be able to group up those camps and try to get some damage down together. Tomo has already taken a ton of damage, by the way, as Eyla got a little bit down with the Zenith Blade, and FBI has just been hitting him with these bombs. That's like 3 in a row that he did actually tag him with. Tomo is already using his potion, and he's still incredibly low, and has to pop a biscuit.
I mean, it's really funny. Alistar Kalista is always a funny pairing because at level 1 they're weak, but later on they're stronger. So they're doing everything they can at level 1.
Yeah, FBI trying to get level 2 really fast there. They mistimed their engage slightly. Eyla went forward, and FBI was trying to finish off the minion, but couldn't quite finish it off as he went in with the Zenith Blade. If he actually got 2 right there, they likely would have been able to force the cleanse, and then you have the Ignite following it up. But they did at least get the Ignite out of Isles, who was trying to push back FBI. Didn't want them to be able to follow up on that play.
Yeah, interesting. Eyla starting with Sweeper as well, whereas Azael starts with the Trinket Ward, so Eyla winning that one out early, being able to clear that ward away. They're going to have to be a little bit scared of a gank at about 3 minutes and 15 seconds, because that's when Sheiden will have finished his full clear. Very unlikely that Lillia ganks you before level 4, which is why they're so comfortable being pushed up at this stage as they move to the Tri-Brush to get a ward down.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, often the safest thing you can do is actually just hard shove the wave and bounce it before that jungle timing comes, because now the wave is going to stack and come back towards you if you are worried. Isles, though, goes in with the combo onto FBI just for a little trade there. You can see Quid sustaining pretty well with the fleet, just trying to do his best to minimize damage. And up on the top side, it's just Sniper and Srtty trading back and forth, but thus far it looks like Sniper is getting the better end of it.
Yep. Sniper, if you're willing to pick Camille into a possible flex pick, you're going to be really confident in your ability to play Camille. Sheiden full cleared, River full cleared, and likely the Sejuani just ends up trading crabs, and he's going to be happy with this because this allows him to maybe have first look at top, but Sheiden might be moving through for a double crab angle. Nope, just going back.
Yeah, Quid could actually potentially stop him on the recall if he wants to use his Soul Inbound to do it, and probably will try to do that. Elects not to, though. Instead, going to go for a nice little trade here onto Keine. And yeah, not going to risk going for that double crab, as Ayla's going to go in onto Tomo. Tomo does use a cleanse, but he's going to get ignited after, and he gets satcheled back in. Beautiful placement by FBI. One more auto is going to finish him off. The flash out, trying to get to safety, but is he in the pit? He's going to get taken down. That's first blood for FBI. Well played in the 2v2 to them. Isles gets one back, but not going to be anywhere close to worth it.
And it burns Cleanse Flash from the Kalista, making him more vulnerable in the future. Very well played by the 100 Thieves duo lane early on there. I understand what Tomo was thinking, that he could maybe flash and juke around, but ends up, he was dead to rights anyway. Definitely should have saved his flash.
Yeah, that is really tough. And when you look mid lane, you realize that Quid actually forced the earlier reset from Keine in this melee versus range matchup. That is also tough, but in comes Keine, maybe going to look for the solo kill, just gets it. Quid, disrespectful, sees the teleport coming in, just says, you know what, I can probably clear the wave and then back off. Instead, he was in a great spot and gives over a freebie.
I just saw his reaction on the cam afterwards. That was definitely a little bit of disrespect.
Yeah, a lot of it of disrespect, as we can watch this 2v2 happen again.
Okay, so Isles actually is the one to begin this fight, but very nice E by Eyla there as the Alistar engages. And then FBI just makes sure he's weaving his auto attacks in, landed all of his spells, and they end up just having more damage. They were hoping to get the first blood at the end, but it wouldn't have mattered since they were trading Kalista for the support anyway. And then watching this...
This is just silly. He wants the cannon. Like, he literally killed himself for a cannon.
Yeah. I mean, technically, it's only, like, a 220 cooldown on the trade. Could have been worse.
Oh, swing and a miss on the ulti there. Oh, maybe got the flash. We didn't quite see that. Looks like so. He did probably force the flash there from Keine, as Quid does at least get his Berserker Greaves base off, and River walks through mid, so they're able to force the flash. We'll see if they can find any pressure down here on bot lane, as Sheiden is hanging around, but a lot of credit deserved by FBI and Eyla. Have been one of those kind of real big upgrades that people have been talking about. 400 Thieves, you know, a place of power for them, did really give them that additional carry threat, and being able to pick into this Kalista and kill it in the 2v2 was definitely nicely done, and does not bode well for the Kalista or the Kalista's win rate.
No. I mean, 3 and 4 so far in the LTA. Across the big four, it's around 50%, even though it feels... I know, we've been having this discussion, Azael. Kalista doesn't seem to do much in a lot of these games, but if you're winning half the time, can't be that bad. Especially when you're picking it early. What's the winner at now? I know you're checking it.
The search was not loading for me.
He's going to come back to it. I'm going to keep casting. We see the swap here at 6 minutes, as we were expecting in this game, as Sniper has moved bot lane and the Ziggs has moved up to the top lane, just to start throwing Srtty into some uncomfortable situations. Srtty was winning the 1v1 against Sniper's Camille, I think mainly because River was just matching Sheiden's full clear farm and not going for any early ganks. Understand that when you're against Lillia, because if Lillia starts counter-junking your camps, you can get into a really vicious cycle where the Lillia flies ahead of you, and so far River has stopped that from happening.
Yeah, 3 and 4, as you said, in LTA North, and then globally it's about 48%. In top 4 regions, it is about 51%, slightly over 51%. So top 4 are doing pretty well. I just gotta say, it just doesn't look that strong.
The eye test isn't there.
The eye test is definitely not there. Until you watch some of the really crazy Kalista players, you watch like Pays or whoever, and they're like, okay, this champion's OP. But And we do see a bit of damage going down there onto Isles. He doesn't have the ulti, so FBI just going to throw his down, get some damage down. Sheiden, meanwhile, is invading on the red. Is actually down experience right now to River, which is somewhat surprising, though. Sejuani does have a pretty good early clear, and Sheiden's will continue to accelerate throughout the game.
Yeah, FBI kind of weak side gaming here, even though we have the Sejuani matching in the River.
And River now moving up here. Maybe going to try to play for a little bit of vision as the Grubs are about to spawn. Both teams have made their swaps up towards top. Again, both teams would love this. Eyla just short on the Zenith blade there. That could have been trouble for Isles as he still is not level 6, and River would have been there to follow up with his Glacial Prison. Down on the bottom side, there is no TP for the top laners, so they are not going to be joining. And Sniper just continuing to trade, go in with the hook shot. As soon as the passive is expiring, you back it up. That passive shield, really difficult to play around, but now that Isles is 6, I think Dig is going to have a lot more confidence to try to actually force here.
They
and
want
so they're
these
calling
Grubs.
over Keine, and they are looking to try to play for this.
4v4 if they fight.
But Quid is split from the rest
it.
of the team. Yeah, I just don't think they feel like they have a good positioning.
So all 3 Grubs, and I'm going to steal your line from yesterday. The 3 Grubs aren't as strong as the 6 Grubs from last patch, but they're stronger than 3.
That's true. Those are factually correct statements.
I think that's all the patch notes said about it.
Basically,
it's pretty much it.
It's all you need to know. I mean, you get 1 Void Might from getting 3. So it's like getting the first pack of Grubs is just objectively way better than it was before. Yeah, you can't have that opportunity to get 6, but let's be honest, you don't usually get 6 unless you're kind of stomping the game anyway. Someone can steal 1 away. So I feel like Grubs are really high priority to me now. Being able to get 1, and especially when you get a Void Might for the laning phase, like you get a Void Mights online, you know, before 9 minutes. That's really nice if you have winning lanes.
Yeah, which
they do not.
Yep. But they got the Grubs, so at least they're not letting the opponent have the Grubs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Ambessa is getting some push. You can see that Isles has moved down towards that bottom side. They are kind of hunting Sniper right now, who will be pushed out. But River just farming well, keeping up pretty much almost entirely with Sheiden, and has been doing a good job there. Quid obviously with the one oopsie in mid lane, gave over a freebie, but he as well is working in towards that Blade of the Rune King. FBI could be in a lot of trouble here potentially, though. The Satchel Charge is going to create some space, so it is just a big chunk. But now he's got to be careful about anyone else coming up there. And we see Isles on the minimap. FBI, of course, does not have that luxury, but he could just come in from behind the tower
Level 6 Alistar just wants to
He's
power
level
through
6. We'll see. Can FBI actually flash the combo? He's going to try to look for it. He just realized, you know what? Not even worth flashing. I am just dead. You could see that Isles just walked behind him, popped the ulti, and held his spells. So if he flashed, he would just die right after. They're going to look, though. Tokyo Drift. In comes River, and Eyla 3v1 mid lane is going to get one back, and it's a shutdown there for Quid.
Wow.
Team Gap.
Couple of really nice ganks there, actually. Well executed by both teams. Isles with the walk at you strategy. Alistar can actually tank. It's the best strategy. If he tries to W, maybe there's an escape. But then in the mid lane there, Keine looked like a fraction of a second left on his flash by the time that came through. Yeah, his flash was up for like 2 more seconds when they can chain all the CC on him. So no retort. The bigger thing for me, though, is after that last game, when you lose a 46-minute, 47-kill game, we've talked about how most teams have a harder time recovering from those losses than losing 10 kills to 0, 25 minutes. They're so draining. And then you're saying, man, and now we need to win 2. We couldn't even win that 1 after we spent so much energy. But Dignitas has started this game really well.
Yeah, they absolutely have.
It doesn't look like there's a hangover from that last game. There's not some tilt. They haven't been forcing plays. Keine had that nice solo kill early. Even though they gave up the first blood, it was a close 1-1.
Did Keine have that solo kill, or did Quid?
I mean, you can ask that about a lot of fights this series. Did Quid get a solo kill on
himself? I would argue he did.
Now,
I would
if you check
argue
the stats,
Quid solo killed Quid.
If you check the stats, it will be credited to Keine. But
did
the eye test.
Did the cannon solo kill Quid?
We need to have a cannon solo kill tracker.
I would say the cannon is more deserving in this case.
I would agree.
And Srtty now is maintaining that push on the bottom side, so he has taken down 1, working away on that second plate as well, has gotten a couple little bits of Void Might damage in there, so the Grub's putting in some work, and has his Shojin completed, but Sniper likewise has that Triforce done. River going to be spotted here. And they may not know that Srtty is collapsing, but both teams playing it pretty slow. It's a much more reserved game 2 after a very frenetic game 1.
And I think for now, Dig is happy with this slow pace because they're winning all the lanes. They're just slowly accumulating advantages across the board. Lillia wants to get to Leandries because currently River is on Heartsteel, so the power spike would be on the side of Sejuani. It's nice if they can keep a bit of a controlled game, because if these fights get too spread out and there's too many flank angles, like that's when the Camille, Sejuani, Yone really pile on, because they can attack from any angle. But if Dig can hold these waves, keep them pushing, have good setup, that's what they want. And River might have found an angle here.
This is sneaky. This is reminding me of Huhi from yesterday, who was very deep on some of these flanks. Tomo is going to place a ward in their own jungle because they don't have eyes on him, so they know he could be around. The teleport's going to come in, but River is here as well. He's going to go straight into the pit against Srtty, but can they actually collapse in onto Quid? Quid could be in some trouble. There's the Ziggs ult into the backline. Seoul Unbound goes over the wall, but Quid is going to have to snap back, and Quid is going to get taken down. Sniper can go in and does get a kill back on a Tomo. Flashes over the wall back to his team, so it's a 1-for-1, and they should be able to grab the dragon. Honestly, good job by Sniper being able to kind of bail his team out after Quid TP'd into a very dangerous spot and got punished.
Yeah, Quid is having a bit of a game so far, but I understand why Quid would teleport there, because River's behind them, and it's like, we're going to bait them onto the Yone, and then the Sejuani's actually going to be there, and it'll surprise them, right, guys? But with Azael zoning out FBI and Eyla for so long, and River going over the back of the pit, weirdly enough, no, surprisingly, yes.
Is that why?
You wouldn't believe it. And as you said, Sniper getting the lockdown onto Tomo, and then having a really nice flash over the wall to not let anyone follow up.
Yeah,
makes it a win trade.
Quid has had some head scratchers today in this series, I will say. I mean, you know, even just the reaction there from Golden, he's like, what was that? Okay, not bad, not bad. I mean, Quid even did the thing which is kind of like the panic Yone play, where you get jumped on and you're like, oh crap, Soul Unbound. You know, and then he eat over the wall into the pit and then flashed, and then it's like, oh, you're gonna snap back into them though. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be one of these situations where you would have to flash over the wall instantly to try to get out of there, and then Soul Unbound back over the wall if you wanted to go aggressive, right? Yeah. Instead of kind of the inverse, where he went back over the wall with Soul Unbound, then he ulted back in, then he tried to flash out. It just didn't end up working, but it was one of those panic moments, and not a good TP from him. But still, you know, the gold is pretty close, and 100 Thieves do have 2 dragons to their name. The Feat of Warfare has been claimed by Dig, but it is 2 objectives to the 1 for 100 Thieves, so they are 1 away from that. And first tower still on the board for both teams. Yeah, it's a very close game, and I like that you point out Quid this game. You can even think back to last game, he had a few head scratchers as well with his Lillia. And I think it's just a good reminder as a sports fan, there are good games and bad games, and good days and bad days, and it doesn't always define you as a player, because Quid is an MVP level player who appears to be having a bad day, but it doesn't mean he can't get hot later, hit a bunch of 3s in the 4th quarter. There you go. Big Yone ultimates. What we do know is he's currently like 2 for 12 from the field. Yeah. You know, you miss all the shots you don't take, so we'll put it like that. He's been throwing some up. But Dignitas definitely looking good so far in this game. Competitive in game 1, and are out to a pretty nice little early advantage here. They are pushing out through mid lane, but the scaling definitely on the 100 Thieves side is scary in the side lanes. Really, really terrifying. Ziggs scales incredibly well and can also help to assist those side lanes. As Keine get a face check River here, and it's going to take some damage for his trouble. The Ziggs is going to get in range for an ulti here, so we'll see if they can at least force the flash. Not going to let it rip. He does spot him with the blue orb, but realizes, you know what, he's too far away. Now Isles may have to pay a bit of a price here. But it's going to be Sniper now on that tier 1 bot. So even though they don't actually kill him, it's going to cost them the tower, very likely. Very worth it there for 100 Thieves. Rift Herald fight would have been difficult. Oh, Tomo in trouble now. He's going to have to try to flash. He does have the cleanse available, but he's not going to be able to do anything with that. The 2-man sleep does come through. The satchel charge builds some space, but in flashes Isles to try to take down FBI. FBI has a flash of his own, though, and does get out. Eyla now using the Zenith Blade to taxi to the Alistar to get back to safety as well. Dignitas get nothing there, and all the while, Sniper is pushing bot, Srtty is pushing top, but the race for first tower is going to be won by 100 Thieves. So 1 objective away from getting the feat upgrade, but this is the type of game state that 100 Thieves wants with this team composition, is spread out as possible, play wide, find engages whenever you can, and get the gold onto your split pushers. So as much as Yone and Camille haven't seemed like they've been dominating the game, they both have slight gold leads over their opponents. They also managed to burn summoner spells in that last fight on the Dig carries, which is the first step to get the summoner spells is often the hardest one, because once they're down, your next engages can really pile on. So 100 Thieves really happy with that sequence of play. Yeah, they're going to be feeling really good about it. Keine now could be in some trouble again. Yeah, no flash. And Soul Unbound is there. He's knocking him down low. The snapback's going to kill him. Eyla comes in, does cost him his summoners, but going to be happy about that kill. Sheiden now fishing with the bowling ball, doesn't actually connect on him, but it's going to be Srtty connecting with the public execution, and River is going to be going down. Srtty claims his first kill of the game.
Pretty nice counterattack there from Dig. The first play, it's exactly what we're talking about, though. Keine looked at Yone, and because Leona was near the same screen, he was able to all in knowing that that flash was down. But River, I feel like, ends up getting caught out. He was also without his flash. You can see that tiny little bit of black before it has come off cooldown, so River will have his flash for the net fight. But that trades it 1-for-1 and keeps the game pretty close.
Yep, very, very close game. It is now only a 300 gold lead here. It is going to be Hextech Soul, though, on the table. 100 Thieves had the opportunity to grab their third dragon and move to Soul Point here, as that has just spawned. Dignitas, though, out on the map, trying to clear out vision in their own jungle and prepare for a potential fight. Both the top laners are on the top side, but teleports are available, and 100 Thieves are moving in.
Pretty swingy Drake here, because this will also decide who wins Feats of Strength for the ability to upgrade their boots, since we know Dig won the Feat of Warfare and 100 Thieves got first turret. So both top laners having TP. We'll see who ends up pulling the trigger first, because generally speaking, that is the team that wins the fights.
Well, Quid does go in, doesn't take too much damage, is able to get a little bit down on Isles. You can see that the Herald was summoned mid, won't be able to kill off the tower, but is drawing the attention of the FBI and Eyla, and that's supposed to give Dig some time to get some vision down, but really didn't accomplish too much. And now 100 Thieves are going to be the first one to actually pull the trigger. They're starting up the dragon.
This is interesting. I thought 100 Thieves would push bot first, but they're teleporting in early and just going all in on the Drake, and now they have a flank from Camille.
Oh, Srtty's just teleporting straight into the pit. Can they actually find him? Isles is going to hex flash over the wall. There's going to be a flip here. It's going to be claimed by River, but how will the fight go? Sniper in the back line. He finds Tomo. Tomo's in a world of hurt. Eyla falls down first, but can they actually get out? Tomo's still standing. Tomo surviving. Going to get finished off by River. Sniper flashes out safety. Quid has got to get back in there. FBI pelting him with bomb after bomb after bomb. But Keine, Srtty, Sheiden charging forward, looking for more. The public execution is going to take down one. Surely Quid and 100 Thieves are on the run, but they can't get out. Sniper trying to get out here is incredibly low. He's going to get finished off as well, but not before FBI kills off the Alistar on the other side. A bloody affair. Dignitas win the fight, but lose the dragon. This one was reminiscent of last game.
It's another banger. Let's look at the teleports to start this fight. 100 Thieves is trying to draw Dig in, but because Srtty just goes straight in the pit, he ends up being in the fight first. So it looks like even though the Smite fight decides who wins by getting the soul, the fight goes over to Dig, and I think mainly it's because Tomo lasted so long. Quid couldn't find his way into the fight for the longest time. Once they actually do kill him and Quid flies in, Dig has the next set of cooldowns, so Isles can just peel him off right away, and Srtty tries to chase for as many kills as possible.
I mean, this is just the Ambessa experience. You running away from a fight? No, you are not. Ambessa is dashing and dashing and dashing, and Lillia has all of that move speed stacked up, so no real way out. 100 Thieves try as they might, couldn't get away. It's back to a 2K gold lead just like that. It was down to 200 last time we checked in. 100 Thieves are on Soul Point, so Dignitas are going to have to try to make a stop.
Really awesome game so far. When the team with more Drakes is a little bit weaker in fights, I always feel like it creates such a nice tension in the game.
Yeah.
Because the Soul will probably push them over the edge to win the game, but it's also possible that if Dig just holds on well enough, they can take him down. And I think the way to do that is just continue to play around Sheiden. I think this game, we haven't mentioned it much, but he's been farming very efficiently. He's been first to a lot of the objectives, and he's against so many melee dive characters. If he's able to not be the one that gets one shot and just have a long fight, he will carry that fight. He's doing so much damage here.
Yeah, I mean, Lillia versus 4 melees is
kind of a dream situation.
It is absolutely a dream situation, but now the CC going to be chaining down onto Keine. That's more of a nightmare as he gets put to sleep by Eyla and Quid. Meanwhile, Srtty getting a bit of damage down onto River, but FBI is here and Eyla is back to support, so it's not going to be anything more than just the skirmish.
The second time Keine has died to a similar play like that as they keep jostling, it's when River is shown on the map, so Keine probably thinks that he's not getting ganked, but it's actually the second jungler, the support, that's gotten him. That's the second time that's happened to him. It happened first in bot lane, happened again in top lane here, where Eyla is the one shadowing Quid.
And you can see, despite Quid having a couple oopsies this game, he's very far up in gold, and he is going to be pushing in this top lane. You know, the TP is available for Keine, so we'll see if he wants to teleport up to defend the tier 1, or if he's just going to let that go. Quid not feeling confident to push, knowing that they could have reset and come up there. So he's just going to take his win, go back to base, spend up his gold. But he already had the Strikebreaker plus the Bork. He's going to be working towards an IE very likely next. And it's going to be incredibly strong when he finishes it.
Miss 100% of the shots you don't take. He was 2 for 12. Now I feel like he's like...
he's heating up.
8 for 19, 8 for 20. He's getting there.
Look at River. He is just in sneaky spots again and again. But the public execution over the wall is going to connect onto Sniper. And the teleport's coming in. There's the lilting lullaby. Sniper is going to be dead to rights. River has got to run. The backup came in for Dignitas. It's the Goon Squad. They're going to take down River. They're going to grab a double for Srtty, and it leads right to the Otacon.
And Sheiden speaks here. He says they're still in the series. This was them just finding the play. He is still so strong right now. Even if they didn't have everyone collapsing, I still feel like they win that little skirmish, but the Otacon is going to give them that big boost of combat power. We'll see if FBI can get the gold a little bit closer by taking the turret while this Otacon goes down.
Yeah, they do get 2 towers. They take down the tier 1 top, tier 1 mid, so that is something for them, but still, Dignitas, really big win because, yes, the gold stays about the same off of that play, but they're getting all of the extra stats from the Otacon, getting all of the flowers, getting the proc on takedowns. So we're heading towards another potential long game. I mean, it is 3 dragons for 100 Thieves. If they claim Seoul here, then you don't really care about the advantages that Dignitas have, but Dignitas are in the winning position right now. Like, they should be the ones who win the fights, take the dragons, extend the game, and then we could be in for another really long one.
They should be able to defend this Drake, but this is where 100 Thieves is just going to look maybe for a fast play. If they can get anything while Dig is setting up, it would be huge. Unable to do that at the moment, though. Sniper's going to try and prep that bot wave and then probably look for a flank as this Drake gets started.
Yeah, it's also worth noting, Srtty, very aggressive with his build. Went Ghostblade second, has more lethality in the bag. So if he can get on some of these squishy carries, he will be able to 100-0 them. But at the same time, you get CC'd up, you are going to die in a hurry as well. 100 Thieves do have this 4-man squad over here, and Sniper still on the side, as you touched on. Quid playing through mid lane. They're trying to land the poke with the Ziggs.
Srtty is really fed, so he's able to mark Sniper.
FBI got tagged. They're going to flash in on him. He's going to get hit here by Isles, but there's no follow-up whatsoever. And Ayla's in the back line on Sheiden. Shaiden's going to be taken down as Quid and Sniper flying in, but it's going to be River now trying to turn around here onto Srtty. The bombs are missing. It's Sniper in trouble. Sniper trying to survive, but he's going to get taken down by Srtty. He goes unstoppable. Quid trying to make it happen, but they don't have the juice. The public execution over the wall takes out FBI. Srtty is going crazy on the Ambessa.
These fights are so sick. They're just absolutely hands-checking each other. Srtty having an amazing game. 100 Thieves correctly identified that Sheiden was the one carrying these fights, so they lock him down first rather than trying to go for Tomo's Kalista, but that takes long enough that Dig can still take the fight at the back end. Dragon stands, by the way, so they're going to be coming back for another one. Watching the beginning of this fight, it is Dig who trigger pulls first, trying to one-shot FBI. I'd say the Sejuani ultimate to peel Sheiden was huge. It means they can't finish FBI. FBI can still get all his cooldowns out, but even after that, because Srtty is having such a big game, compare this game to his Renekton game, insane glow up, they're still able to win the fight on the back end.
Yeah, and it just feels like they're struggling to have enough consistent damage on the 100 Thieves side, right? You have these bombs getting thrown over the wall, but if you're not hitting everything, it is really tough. And you have a Kalista that's just pummeling you time and time again, but now 100 Thieves, they're just going to pull the trigger here onto the Baron. It does get spotted by the blue orb. We have got to get back to live because they were expecting that Dignitas would go over to the Dragon, and this could just be dead. Eyla stuns up Sheiden. He's peeled off. They're going to be able to get a heist here. They throw out the Glacial Prison. It doesn't connect. They do claim the Baron, but can Dignitas get the fight? Quid tries to go over the wall, but he's going to get knocked back, and River has got to run. He's incredibly low, but he's going to be put to sleep, and this might be the last sleep for him. The Ziggs ulti comes through, tags up multiple members. Quid ults over the wall. It is the Baron for just one. A big win for 100 Thieves.
Nice little sneak of gold right there, subverting expectations. Rather than running it back for Seoul, it's a nice call to just start the Baron. Dig was doing a slow approach towards Drake because they were worried about a snap engage, and it means they're just a little bit late to that Baron fight. It got really close, though. I saw either it was the Smite or the Shock Blast took that Baron to sub 100 health. So it would have been an absolute disaster if they didn't secure that. But now that the Hex Strike Drake goes over and the Baron is secured for 100 Thieves, the game is continuing to stay incredibly close.
Yeah, Srtty looked like he had a pretty big reaction when that Baron went down. Looked pretty visibly frustrated to me on the cam, but maybe it was just super locked in. Maybe I'm reading into it too much, but he's been having a good game, 6-0 and 6, and here's this Baron take again.
man, you can see how close that was. It's Camille who ends up getting the last hit on it. But as this fight starts, I think because 100 Thieves was just burning the Baron, they're never really realistically going to win this fight. Nice slow play there by Dig to not completely overcommit, poke him down enough with Lillia, get the sleep, get the kill to execute him, and then move to get the
We're
Drake.
back to live, and
Kaine's down again.
Kaine's just gone. Eyla has been really active on the map here, moving around well, did a great job peeling Sheiden off that Baron, and then again finding Keine. I feel like he has been involved in almost every single Keine death this game, and now with the Baron, they are pushing up.
I mean, Diggs got to defend. Srtty was trying to push in that top lane turret, but it's a Baron minion with Ziggs and no Jayce. He's going to have to completely abandon that split push.
I mean, their wave clear is terrible, right? So maybe the call is, you know what, we can't defend, so we're going to have to give up some of these outers. They're giving up a tier 2 bot. They lose the tier 2 mid, so now the gold lead is really evaporating here. It's down to 100 gold. Was a couple thousand not long ago, so 100 Thieves able to really close the gap there. Shield bow completed here for Quid. He's got his third item, upgrades those boots that he already had from the Feats of Warfare. You can see the FBI as well. Gets his Shadow Flame in. Multiple items getting completed right now. 400 Thieves. They're going to be feeling a lot better about their position and catching up with their carries on the other side, as Dignitas had 3 items in for quite a few members already.
We might have a second to catch our breath here, because it's 3 minutes to Hextech Soul, another 3 minutes for Baron, and the Baron buff is going to be leaving 100 Thieves soon.
But when is Elder going to spawn? That's, you know, what we really need to be looking towards. It's a Dignitas game.
The slowest in the LTA North. They own the 4 longest games of the year so far. It's really incredible what this team is accomplishing in this young split.
Not young for them, but for most people.
They've aged 100 years.
4 years of gameplay over these 5 weeks.
I mean, it's crazy that this might be becoming their identity. This game, to me, I'm so much looking at Sheiden and Srtty, right? Srtty was completely starved in that Renekton game, barely able to stay in it. This game, he's really showing up. He's stopped Sniper from being able to take over side lanes, and it's almost about like how much pressure can he create before the team fights start, because the other side laner for Dignitas, Keine, is getting completely picked on.
Yeah.
That's where Eyla has been so good at playing Fog of War, with his control wards, with his sweepers, sneaking around and just teaming up with Quid to get a bunch of extra kills on Keine. I think it's what's keeping this game close, because without all those picks that 100 Thieves have found on Keine, I think this game probably ends up just snowballing in Dignitas' favor.
Absolutely. I mean, these lethality builds here, you know, that Srtty is playing, they're high risk, high reward. You can see he's not actually that far ahead as far as the gold goes, but because a lot of these items are cheaper than what we're seeing from Sniper, he has a lot of item completions, and in goes Quid. Strikebreaker popped, Ghostblade going to be used to try to get out of there. The Soul Bound not going to be enough to kill him off, but look at that chunk, and this is the danger of laning against Quid here in the late game. Yone just scales like crazy, and because you build sustain, you can only take that once and then you have to base. Ambessa has no lifesteal.
Quid is the richest person in the game. So even though both of them are sitting on 6 kills, I think Quid has gotten about 50 extra CS, a little bit of extra bounty gold, so he's actually 800 gold ahead of Srtty if we'd made that top laner to mid laner head-to-head. So the kit advantages as well as the gold gap and the very efficient boot upgrade with the gunmetal greaves that he has pulled off. So Quid in a position to carry this one, as is Srtty, I think.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. You know, Tomo quietly is very rich. You know, he doesn't have the craziest score line, but if you're committing everything to trying to kill off Sheiden or try to peel Srtty, and Tomo's hitting, like, he's getting very, very strong, and he's working towards his Jack shows. Same build that we actually saw from the Varus last time around. You start to get very difficult to actually knock down. He has his Terminus completed, has for quite a while, and when he gets that Jack shows done, if Sniper and Quid can't burst him down, like, if you don't take him down right off the rip, he's going to have higher sustained DPS than you will in almost all the fights. Yeah,
the Ambessa, the Lillia, the Kalista, all really good against these quadra melee if they're playing these fights well. So I almost want to say Dignitas is a little bit ahead despite the 3 Drakes. If they don't get this Hextech, though, that all goes away, as now we're 20 seconds in, and they don't have good river setup, so 100 Thieves might look for a play right off the bat.
This Ziggs poke starting to hurt, though. Isles is about 20% of his health from one bomb there getting thrown in by FBI. Shock Blast getting traded back onto Quid. They do have that mid lane prio, but 100 Thieves are just going to drop it, and they are looking for Eyla. Eyla going to flash in, try to turn it around onto Srtty. Srtty flashed out to safety, but Sniper is in the back line. He's looking for Tomo. Can he actually take him down on the other side? It's going to be Quid, and Quid gets put to sleep, but he buffers buffers it with his ulti, and go to sleep Lillia instead. 100 Thieves are taking over here. The GA traded out for Sniper, but Sniper does not care. Quid does not stop, and Dignitas will fall and lose the soul, and maybe even lose the game. We'll see. These respawn timers are so incredibly long. They're just going to flash in and try to take down Isles, and with that and these incredibly long respawn timers, I think they might have done it.
Dread it, run from it. 100 Thieves team fighting always arrives. They might be able, with the Ziggs, to take down these turrets and win the game. They don't even go for Soul. Azael, I think they have done it.
I think so too. Tomo's not up for 15 seconds. 100 Thieves, they might get exciting. They keep it close, and just like that, they flip the switch, they turn on a time, and they take you out in the team fight. They're going to take down Dignitas 2-0 and claim their spot in playoffs.